Hello, my name is TJ Cornay. I'm an economics teacher at Carrollton High School in Carrollton, Georgia, and my topic is U.S. currency appreciation and depreciation, with focus on the winners and losers on changes in the exchange rate. So my focus is on substandard B, social studies, EIN, number two in personal finance and economics. Explain how appreciation and depreciation of currency affects net exports and benefits some groups and hurts others. I did my research paper focusing on mostly depreciation, but specifically looking at how it affected groups within the United States on consumers and businesses, and delved a little bit deeper on the U.S. Dollar's role as the world's reserve currency and how depreciation could affect that stature there, as well as its impact on capital investment within the United States, which is a little bit outside the bounds of the scope of the standard, but something I thought was important and definitely allowed me to grab deeper knowledge of that topic. So the groups that we typically focus on in this are consumers and businesses and firms. Consumers win or lose on changes in the exchange rate based on whether they have more or less purchasing power relative to other countries and how that affects importing more goods. Businesses and firms are affected because it could increase or decrease net exports depending on if the good becomes more expensive or cheaper for others to export or other nations, to import from the United States or from whatever currency you're looking at. However, firms also have to purchase intermediate goods and capital from other nations, and so that can have an impact on them based on if that's more expensive to get those goods to make a finalized product or service. Again, a strong currency allows consumers to purchase more, while a weaker currency means less purchasing power, which also impacts nations with inflation and tends to add to inflation. So my lesson plan, I would break it up into 2 days. The reason why is because it is a fairly complex topic, and I want to make sure we establish some foundational knowledge about appreciation and depreciation before jumping into kind of the more complex relationships. So day one, before the class, I would assign a video for students to watch for homework, talking about appreciation and depreciation. Then when they come to class that day, there'd be a bell ringer about do we want the U.S. dollar to become stronger or weaker than the euro, and ask them to explain why. That'd be followed by a mini lecture and presentation about the groups impacted and how they're impacted. Then I would share a graphic organizer where they create a chain of events explaining in different scenarios of changes in the exchange rate, who's impacted and why, with really basic arrows up and down and how they're connected. And then for an exit ticket, I would have them read and summarize an article called "The Yuan Fall: Why is China's Currency Getting Weaker?" about why China's purposely depreciating its currency. Then day two, we'd have a bell ringer about why would a nation want net exports to increase. Then we'd break them out into groups to do a scenario activity where they've got to explain based on their assigned actor in an economy whether they benefit or lose in different changes in the exchange rate. Then students would be given an opportunity to write an argument for whether the U.S. should depreciate their dollar to increase net exports and how that might affect the economy. Then we look at rankings of nations that import the most and the fact that the United States imports the most, and how does that relate to the exchange rates, right? Because if we import the most, well, a depreciation of the dollar means that we buy more goods for other groups, which means we have a greater impact on our prices and our availability to get goods than other nations that don't import as much. And then I have an exit ticket, hopefully allowing them to summarize how it affects them in their personal finance directly. So ultimate goal is to tie the standard to how changes in the exchange rate can impact them as U.S. workers and future current consumers and future workers.